And welcome to Flashback Monday, where we talk about all the things in this magazine. Isn't it just awesome? There's 278 books in here, and we're just going to go through a couple just to make a small dent in this very fantastic magazine that I wish was still around today. The magazines today don't do this justice. They don't even do half the ones they did in here, and they don't do it the same way. The best place to find something equivalent today is Goodreads, of course. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smashy stuff going on here. And we start with Regency and we end with Harlequin. Um, Sometimes they mix up the inspiration of contemporary romance and mystery, depending on how many they've got that month, which one they're going to feature that month. But they always start with Regency and we always end with Paranormal and Harlequin. So let's get to it. And I've got an itch. I swear. For the record, I usually only do 4 or 4.5 star books. Every once in a while, I'll do a 3 or 2, depending on who the author is. Mm, there is. Where'd it go? Oh, sorry. So, but most of the time, I stick with 4 and 4.5 stars. So this is 4.5 stars. It's Monica McCarty. McCarty's latest Highland Guard novel is a deeply moving and delightful read, set against Robert the Bruce's battle to evict the British from Scotland, and centering on the strong love between his leading Highland warrior and the English lord's sister. Naked guy on the cover. I should do these for a reread. They're really good. When I did them, I did most of them via audiobook because I was data entering at that point. Robert Boyd is Bruce's enforcer. Rosalind Clifford is an English baron's sister. When she helps her brother's prisoner Robbie escape, she doesn't realize that she's fallen in love with him without knowing his name. 6 years later, Rosalind, who knows Robbie and why her brother despises him. Robbie has never forgotten her kindness during his imprisonment. Over the years, his feelings for Rosalind have grown, and his hatred for the English has become more selective. Let's see what happens there. Um, The Lord of the Sea. An ebook. 2-page spread. Naked guy on the cover. 4.5 stars. Harmon's grand entry into the Heroes of Sea series has it all. There's love and laughter, joy and pain. She evokes an emotional connection with each character on her journey through the story. Her use of nautical terms gives authenticity to this rousing pirate tale. Connor Merrick is a privateer and captain of the Kestrel, disabling British ships and appropriating their treasures, then appointing his men to sail them to distant ports. He's working in the shadows of his father Brennan, who was a legend as a captain of the Kestrel during the Revolutionary War. He also harbors a deep secret. On one of his ventures, he rescues Rihanna Evans and her chaperone Alana from Pirates. Ironically, Alana is sister to his very British brother-in-law. Despite that connection, Connor refuses to forgo capturing British ships. He's also developing a tendre, however the hell you say that, for Rihanna. Hmm. When the Duke was a wicked, Lorraine Heath, 4.5 stars. Heath moves the Scoundrels of St. James into the next generation with a spin-off series as Franny Darling's daughter leads Jack Dodger's stepson on a merry chase. Their signature Heath wit, but also poignancy as Heath tackles several serious themes and raises emotional intensity of the beautiful love story. Lady Grace Mabry isn't afraid of anything except marrying the wrong man. She needs someone knowledgeable in the ways of scoundrels to help her sort out her suitors. Who better than her childhood friend Henry, Duke of Lovingdon? Grace decides to trap the rogue in his lair, Dodger and Fanny's gambling club, and set up a wager he can't refuse. Lovingdon reluctantly agrees to honor it, and Grace in her heart. Quite the opposite occurs. He begins falling under Grace's spell. And he falls in love. Um, let's see. Seven. Oh, we didn't do that. The Warrior's Bride, Amanda Scott. What did I see? Child in Red? Four and a half stars, 1426 Scotland. Scott's last of the Lairds of the Loch trilogy ranks as the finest of the series. Exquisite writing, a fast moving, highly intriguing plot, and constantly rising levels of emotional tension. Lady Morelle McFarlane is known for her storytelling and her impulsive and unpredictable behavior. Unfortunately, her overactive imagination gets her into trouble with Robert McClay, heir to the Baron of Ardenkapel. When Muriel is captured for trespassing and is to be tried, Robert declares himself her husband, causing the charges to be dropped. Muriel is shocked that Robert intercedes on her behalf, but it might be for alternative reasons. You never know. You don't know. Yep. The Fall of a Saint, Christine Merle. It's a Harlequin. They've been showing up more and more here. Uh, Merle delivers another juicy, scandalous romance featuring a saint, a governess, and an unfortunate tryst. Michael Poole, the Duke of St. Aldrich, is considered a saint by all of polite society, but not by Madeline Cranston, the governess whose room he mistakenly entered during a drunken haze. Without a reference of money and a baby on her belly, Maddie has come to demand a settlement, but Michael offers marriage instead. Let's see what happens. Julia London, Trouble with Honor. The whole cover. Let's see what the review says first. 4 stars. London begins the Cabot sisters quartet with a lively tale that overflows with detail and sets up the rest of the series. As the stepdaughters of the Earl of Beckington, Anna Corbett and his sisters lead a privileged life. But with her stepfather's imminent death and her brother's upcoming marriage, they are to be thrust out of their home. Anna takes matters into her own hands and enlists the help of George Eastham, illegitimate son of a nobleman and true wastrel. After a daring wager and a turn of the cards, George is sworn to seduce her stepbrother's social climbing fiancée. The plan seems foolproof until George kisses Anna and falls in love. Aww. There's an excerpt. What the devil are you talking about? He asked. God help her, she couldn't falter now. She already worked out the plank away from her propriety and decency. I said I very much need you to seduce someone. He lifted her arm, touched his lips to her inner wrist with the keyhole of a glove, then lifted his head. It would seem I'm more successful seduction in this coach than I thought. And she's like, no, not me. Someone else. Ah, Kathy Maxwell. The bride says maybe. 4 stars. In the second of the Bride's Wishmore series, as one sister weds, another one learns her fate is to marry a man no one loves. Readers already know the heroine is naive, spoiled, and unlikable. Now Maxwell allows Tara to change into a woman who makes better choices and learns to love. Ruined by scandal, Tara Davison is a para. Once she had her pick of suitors, but now her father has sold her to Brecon Campbell, the beast of Aberfeldy. As Laird, Brecon must restore their clan's good name, but he cannot stop himself from spending all their money to have Tara as his bride. Brecon sets out to win her love and woo her in his bed. See what happens. Um, Desperately Seeking Susanna? Well, Elizabeth Michaels, 4 stars. With a little bit of Cinderella and a little bit of quirk, Michaels' second tricks of this ton story is a poignant mix of love. Um, when her beautiful sister is in the room, no one notices Sue Green, so she seizes the chance to attend a mass ball, assuming the identity of a bold and sensual Susanna. That night, Sue fulfills her dreams and enjoys herself and comes to face with Lord Holden Ellis. Holden has sworn off love, but he is intrigued by the young woman at the ball. When she disappears as quickly as she appeared, he begins searching for her. We have a Cinderella situation going on here. What? Um, the Scandalous Duke. All right, let's go to it. Scandalous Duke takes a bride. Lady in Red. Tiffany Clare, 4 stars. Another dangerous rogue takes center stage in this friends to lover romance. The malicious author of a scandalous sheet in maligning Lady Jessica Hayer's reputation. Only her dearest friend Hayden, Duke of Alsborough, knows what secrets the lovely widow is hiding behind her scandalous behavior. Hayden hasn't loved Jessica for years, and now that she is a widow, he would marry her in a heartbeat. But Jessica fears that love will ruin their friendship. Mm. And 6. Hmm. It's in the often I've never figured out their way of organizing the books in here. Um, Sapphires are an Earl's best friend. Shanna Galen. Purple, blue. I've never been able to figure it out. 4.5 stars. The latest of the Jewel Ton gets to shine in one of Galen's most adventurous tales yet. Lily Dawson is fulfilling her childhood dreams of being a spy. As a Countess of Charm, she possesses a courtesan to work for the crown. Lily's mission is to discover if a duke is part of a plot to assassinate agents. This is an especially dangerous assignment, since Lily is in love with the duke's son, Andrew Booth Payne, the Earl of Darlington. Andrew wants to despise Lily for being a wanton, but he can't because he's falling in love. Aww. So I think we have one. Nope, I don't see. No editing here. No special editing. Ah, I would not expect historical fiction. And Fortier. 4.5 stars. The Present and the Bronze Age. Frontier's time-slip tale merges the dual stories of a modern-day academic and an ancient warrior woman as she delves into the legend of the Amazons. Told in alternating voices, Deanna is first person and Myra in third person. This intriguing tale lures the readers to keep turning the pages. During the Bronze Age, Marina and her sister Lily return home from a hunting expedition to find their mother gone and their village destroyed. Eventually, the exiled wandering sisters become involved with the key players in the Trojan War. In modern day, Diana Morgan is determined to show an unbelieving world the truth of the legendary Amazons. She's about to give up when a stranger asks her to authenticate an archaeological object that proves her thesis. Teaming up with her guide, Nick Brown, Diana travels the globe as proof of the real Amazons emerge. Interesting. And we are finished with Regency and we'll go on to mainstream fiction. Let's see. I have never learned. Every time I do these, I try to put these in some kind of order, and I never actually make it. Susan Mallory, Evening Stars, 4.5 stars. Mallory's entertaining, intensely emotional novel is a vividly descriptive, local, perfect standout story. Life is never dull on Blackberry Island for self-professed pre-spinster Nina Wentworth, the reliable daughter to her naive mother, Bonnie, and the responsible sibling to her oftentimes capricious younger sister, Avril. Nina's been the potential figure in her atypical, aspirating, complex family, whom she loves without measure and has sacrificed much for. To further complicate her convoluted existence, her man drought has ended and she's juggling not one but two men at once. Meanwhile, marriage to a great guy apparently isn't enough for Avril, who has come home to take a break from her responsibilities. Avril is reluctant to accept help, but she's feeling unable to move forward without it. See what happens there. Um, calendar. Oh, the longest. Start from 15 minutes. Three souls. 4.5 stars. Three Souls is so much more than an intriguing look at 1930s Chinese culture. The engaging characters, captivating plot, and rich setting work together to make this a novel that readers can't put down. This unique novel is told from the perspective of recently deceased Lam and her three souls as they try to make their way into the afterlife. Though married and a mother, Leyland has never forgotten her first love. When he reemerges in her life and betrays him, when he reemerges in her life and she betrays him, she has committed a deed that keeps her from ascending into the afterlife and reincarnation. Now dead, Leyland must find a way to atone for this betrayal and save her daughter from a terrible life that is coming. Pack up the moon. Rachel Heron, 4 stars. Pack Up the Moon is a heartbreaking story of loss and family that achieves an optimistic feel in the end. Believable dialogue and factual details about adoption, terminal illness, and hospice care for children's story keep this story from being too maudlin and manipulative. 3 years after her husband accidentally killed their young, terminally ill son, artist Kate Monroe is finally starting to put her life back together. But when the daughter she gave up for adoption 22 years ago and never told her husband about tracks her down, she's forced to confront her secrets. See about that. Um, Jane Green, Tempting Fate. Staying true to her ability to bring her characters to life through emotional inner dialogue and beautiful complex relationships, Green's latest novel tells a tale of consequences and understanding. Gabby Cartwright is perfectly content in her life. In early 40s, Gabby has happily married to an adoring man for almost 2 decades, and their house is filled with love of their two teenage daughters. Since Gabby has absolutely no reason to mess with her comfortable life, she finds no harm in a night of flirtation with a beautiful younger man who buys her a drink. The attention makes Gabby feel young and alive, a feeling she has long forgotten. As the bar flirtation turns into a secret friendship, she's ruining her life. And she better wake up and smell the coffee. And now we are going on to teens. There's a whole question and answer here on Miss Mallory. This month, Susan Mallory wraps up her Island trilogy, Evening Stars, which lifelong Island Nita has put off going to medical school so that her younger sister Avril can pursue her dreams. As Evening Star begins, Avril returns home feeling unhappy about her life, which makes Nita wonder if her sacrifices were worth it. There we go. There's your author. All right. Teen. I don't think there's much. Let's see. Live forever. Here. Amy Talkington, 4.5 stars. If only this book could last forever, as a setting for Ghost, Wickham Hall is elegantly creepy. The students are ruthless as they are genteel, and even ghosts haunt the property with restraint, lest they fade away with all their secrets. Liv Bloom hopes to leave her mark on the art world when she enrolls in an exclusive New England boarding school on a scholarship. Little does she know that her legacy at Wickham Hall, like so many girls before her, will be painted in blood. Popular Malcolm Astor can't save her on the night she is killed and left to haunt the school grounds. It's a school of the dead. Well, that's diff. Um, Mafia Girl. The twinkling backdrop of Manhattan and the budding romance between two opposites will make this young adult fan adore this novel. 17-year-old Gia has to deal with the typical high school problems of running for class president and falling in love. But one thing is holding her back from really enjoying her life: her father. He's a mob boss, and her family's names are splattered all over the tabloids. When she gets pulled over meeting the hottest policeman ever, things get a little complicated. Okay. And, you know, I thought I saw this. Oh, there it is. I am sorry. Okay. No special editing here. I can't find it. The teams are just not in any order. But there's Lauren Oliver. Panic. Where did I just see that? Oh, look! I've lost my marbles. Okay. Um, 4.5 stars. Fantastic. Oliver has a unique talent for creating multifaceted, complex characters who will hook readers. Carp is a small, struggling town. Each year, graduating high school seniors participate in Panic, the game with high risks and a higher payoff. Thousands of dollars are on the table for the player who endures every dangerous task, and everyone has a different reason to win. Nat wants out of Carp for good. Heather wants to prove her worth by protecting her family. Dodge seeks revenge as the stakes get higher, alliances form, trust is broken, and romance blooms. Let's see what happens there. Um, there's one more if I can find it. Don't even think about it. Starring Mulaski, 4.5 stars. Mulaski hits all the right notes. There's enough levity to keep readers laughing, but this is far from fluff. The real life commotions are engaging and the characters are fully developed. A flu shot goes away, leaving her homeroom class of Tribeca School with strange powers. The students of 10B know everything their classmates, teachers, and families are thinking. They can read minds. They know when their best friends think their jeans look tight or their haircuts are unflattering, and what their parents are up to behind closed doors. They hear it all. Oh, good God. Oh, good God. Was there? I could have sworn. Ah, here it is. Okay. Our last teen book, White Hot Kiss, 4 stars. Almond Child's first full length Dark Elements title starts with a bang. She pairs a fast moving plot with a colorful cast and a strong willed heroine. Lady Shaw longs to be more like her adoptive family, a full warden instead of a half warden, half demon. Unique and separate from the one she loves most, her adopted brother. But she can't help with her family's demon hunting. Able to see souls, she tags demons for the wardens to track. But all that changes when she meets Roth. Mysterious and sexy Roth has her questioning everything she thought she's been taught about her tantalizing glimpses of biological parents. See what happens there. All right, on to inspirational. Let's see. Siri Mitchell. Love Comes Calling. 4.5 stars. In Love Comes Calling, Mitchell pens a fast-paced, laugh-out-loud historical romance with love, misunderstanding, and an unforgettable cast of witty characters. Alice Eaton is killing two birds with one stone. Her dream of moving to Hollywood and making it in the movie business is one step closer, and she's earning money by impersonating a friend whom she closely resembles and working as a telephone operator. The move will also keep her away from Griffin Phillips, who she feels is way above her even though they grew up in the same neighborhood. When she overhears a conversation that puts Griffiths in danger, she knows she has to protect him at all costs. My grandmother started out as a telephone operator. Way, 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 way. When they used to plug the pegs in the board. Um, Tide and Tempest. I hate the glare. Elizabeth Ludwig, 4.5 stars. Ludwig takes readers on a roller coaster ride of emotions with characters who are free spirited, strong willed, and determined to get through troubling times. Since her fiance died from illness on a ship to America, Tilly McGrath has had to go forth alone in New York. But her determination and new friends has created a new life for herself. Now she wants to open an orphanage for the many children left without parents. But that takes money she does not have. Captain Morgan has not stopped thinking about the devastated woman departing his ship. Kendrick recently learned that Tilly's fiance was murdered. Now Tilly is in danger because she has become something she doesn't know she has, and the respectable people will stop at nothing to get her back. I wonder what she has. In the shadow of Jezebel. See if we can. Nah, see if I can. In the shadow of Jezebel meets to Andrew's 4.5 stars. Andrew proves herself once again as her latest plot educates readers on the transformation that occurs in life for the believer. Readers will be stunned at how eloquently her characters fulfill their roles in the Old Testament. Princess Jehossheba stands in the shadows of Queen Athaliah, whose mother, Queen Jezebel, has made sure that her daughter has fully trained. And let's just call her Sheba for now. Sheba to serve as priestess at the Temple of Baal. Then a letter to the royals arrives that predicts doom for the family. Attila and Jezebel seem to find a way for the princess to marry Yahweh, high priest, and gain Yahweh's favor to restore the royal family's safety. Will Sheba learn the truth about her family and seek her new husband's belief? She must overcome her fears about saving her family and her nation, but is it possible for the granddaughter of Jezebel to follow the will of God? Don't know. Gabriel's Bride. 4 stars. Rachel's own desperate prayers for a family of her own in the Amish community bustling with generational connections are sad yet hopeful. Her fear of abandonment after being orphaned at the age of 10 and Gabriel's refusal to accept that he might love again will resonate with readers who have been through similar experiences. When Rachel's aunt dies, she doesn't want to move away to live with distant and unknown family. Widower Gabriel needs help with his children and a home. A marriage at convenience seems like the right answer when the community disapproves of her living with him as a housekeeper. When they fall in love, his pride and fear of rejection prevent them from admitting to each other before a crisis makes it clear that God has matched them perfectly. Okay. Dating and dining, and desperation. 4 stars. In the second novel of the Dear Daphne series, calls to move the story forward, yet things are still unclear for Daphne. Daphne has not made much headway in meeting the conditions of her grandmother's will. She has to get married before the year is out or her lose her inheritance. There are some potential suitors, yet every time Daphne gets close, there is either no chemistry, the values aren't right, or something else stands in the way. Can Daphne, with the help of her new neighbor Sabrina and a little girl named Abel, find true love before time runs out? Let's hope so. And the final inspirational, how sweet the sound. The trouble with these covers, the reflection. 4 stars, Amy K. Sorrells. Alternating points of view help unfold this coming-of-age story inspired by biblical tenor of Tamar. Rape and incest are prevalent yet left unspoken of the epidemic, and Sorrell's latest may give those survivors the courage to find hope and healing. On the outside of the Harlans, an iconic Southern family, on the inside, Aniston has to grow up quickly in response to her family's dysfunction. Her aunt comforts experienced rape and abuse for years. It has finally come to a head, followed by Aniston witnessing the murder of her father and uncle. A family's secrets unravel. Aniston experiences her first love. Her grandmother struggled valiantly to hold on to the family's image. It is to hide her own troubled past. See what happens there. We are moving on to sci-fi. Immortal Muse. Definitely 4.5 stars. Mythological alchemy and fantasy all coalesce in Lee's immortal muse, creating the perfect combination for readers looking for the next stellar read. Lee has masterfully created a fantastical adventure for his audience as they follow Camille Purnell and her journey as creative and immortal muse. The alternating chapters of past and present will whet readers' appetites for more adventure and intrigue. Camille became an immortal muse after mixing an alchemy potion to gain back her youth. Unfortunately, her evil husband, otherwise known as legendary alchemist Nicholas Flamel, drank it as well. Their relationship, filled with intense acrimony, endures for centuries as Camille tries to evade her husband. Compelled to feed and foster creativity in her lovers to gain nourishment, Camille connects closely with several famous historical figures. Bellotti, William Blake, and Gus, I have no idea who these people are, sparring their genius, but no sooner that she develops a heart bond with a strong creative mind, her husband senses it and uses his twisted dark muse to track her down. All across Europe, from the 14th century Paris to 15th century Rome, through the French Revolution and World War II, Camille and Nicholas are tied to another, till they finally settle matters in New York. Harry Brooks, the Druid's Blade, the High Druid's Blade. 4 stars. Brooks once again readers with a breathless adventure in new Shannon trilogy, The Defendants in Shower. The action begins in the first chapter and doesn't end till the last chapter. And as soon as the adventure seems predictable, Brooke adds another unexpected twist, building intensity with each one. By the end, the stakes are so high, the characters are so relatable that readers will be unable to stop reading until the book is over. Paxton Lee, descent of the powerful Lee and Armsford families, has run his family freight flying business since his father's death. He occasionally wonders about the magic in his family's past, but he believes that it doesn't affect him until the day his sister is kidnapped. Paxton is determined to save his sister from the mysterious Arcanian of the Dark House in Wayford. He quickly grabs the family sword and flies to his sister's rescue. He finds himself in magic battle for his life, and the sword that he believed to be normal suddenly displays immense power, magical power, that saves Paxton's life and his sister's. When Paxton returns home, he is summoned by the magic druid order and offered a place as protector. As Paxton begins his new life, he realizes that his past is not what he previously thought it was and faces challenges he's never expected. See what happens there. And Honors Night. Outer Space, maybe? Rachel Bach. Book 2 in Bach's parody trilogy doesn't suffer from a sophomore slump, quite the opposite. With much going on, Honors Night has no trouble holding readers' attention. It's loaded with action. However, this reviewer struggled to get through the relationship that develops between Devi and Rupert after Rupert's betrayal in the first book, especially given Devi's unforgiving, stubborn nature and aversion to relationships. Bach's world building is vast and her writing engaging, but in order for the romance between Devi and Rupert to be believable, major plot developments, both individually and couple, will have to happen in the third book. After nearly losing a life, things are back to normal. Well, as normal as they get for Devi aboard the Glorious Fool, save for the loss of her partner and a few memories. But she can't account for the unexplainable repulsion she feels towards the ship's cook, Rupert, or why she can't seem to stay away from him. As she begins to learn more about the truth behind the ship's dangerous missions, Devi further questions her loyalties, her relationships, and her own being. The fate of the universe lies on Devi's shoulder, and while she's tempted to run, her merc instincts tell her to stay and fight for promises she's made and the man she loves. We'll see what happens there. You know, sometimes I hate it. I hate it when I don't see. Sitting in my pile. I looked over, there it was. So much for that. All right. Mystery. My favorite section. And I was so unable to get quite a few of these books. I do not know why these books were so hard to get. Um, it's just, it's like I haven't moved. Where'd my glasses go? Um, oh, my gal pal. Let's talk about my gal pal. Love this lady. If you have not seen all 60 plus videos, go check them out. Naked in Death, Immortal in Death, Glory in Death, Vengeance in Death, oh, oh, good God. Visions in Death, all of them. Eve Dallas is a lieutenant in the New York City Police's security department. Her husband is the richest man in the world, Rock. Her partner is Peabody, who she's trained, and we've watched train through all these books. McNabb is Peabody's life partner, but he also is a detective in EDD, the Electronics Division. Feeney is captain of the Electronics Division and Eve's former mentor. Mira is the department shrink. Whitney is the big boss. Dr. Mira is Mira's husband and fatherly figure towards Eve. Nadine is a reporter and author who we've watched grow through all of these books. You gotta read them in order to follow the relationships. Mavis has been there since the beginning. Our grifter superstar singer now. And Somerset, the major domo. Galahad, the cat. Baxter and Shoehart and Carmichael and the rest of her division. And Leonardo, Mavis's husband. And number one, and I'm hoping number two comes out in the next book. We've been waiting for number two for too many books. Too many books. It's been like 5 or 6 books. Time moves very slowly in the Eve Dallas world. I think it's been 4 years, 4 or 5 years. It hasn't been more than that since book 1. Whereas for us, the readers, it's been over 25, 30 years. But in the characters' time, it's only been about 4 or 5 years. No longer than that. Concealed in Death. This is the school, right? Yes. Rock is going to build a school. And it's going to be most of the kids will live there and attend school there, and they will get counseling services, and they will get uh music services, and reading and writing and arithmetic and all those kind of things, but they will also get a lot of extracurricular, how to cook, how to farm, how to grow vegetables, how to do all this other stuff. And first, he's starting with an abandoned building. And he's in the building, and he's doing some demolition. And they break down a wall, and they find bodies of young girls, 12, 13, 14, around there, who were killed and then wrapped in plastic and walled up, like the Count of Monte Cristo, whatever you call it. I love these books. I did all of these books, and I did the novelites. So back in the day, we would get 4 J.D. Robs a year, 2 hardcovers, and 2 novels of about 100 pages each. And then we'd get 3 Nora Roberts. We still get 3, sometimes we get 4 Nora Roberts a year, but we only get 2 Eve Dallases a year. We haven't had a novelite in a really, really long time. But if you go back and do my videos, I do them in order, and I include the short stories too in between each one. So go check all of those out if you haven't seen them. Read along with me. I did a binge read, and I also did Janet Ivanovich Stephanie Plum series. Stephanie is a bounty hunter, and her fans have said that Stephanie needs to get a little bit better with her job. She can still be funny, but she needs to be able to do her job a little bit better. But there are 30 books in that one so far, and I did all of those. I did alternated with these. I was reading both sets at the time. This is my comfort series, and it's been hard not to go back to read these. Yeah, let me move this piece of paper. Let me move my book and my pen, and you can come sit here. Come on. Come on. It's been hard because doing the videos, I haven't had time to read these, because if I read these, I'm going to want to talk about them, and I've already talked about all of them. So if anybody thinks of a way for me to talk about these again, except in Flashback Monday, let me know. But that is basically the premise of this book. She finds the bodies behind the wall, or Rourke's demolition team finds the bodies. Honey, I need you. I'm busy. Nope, you're gonna want to see this. I just love this series. So it got 4.5 stars. The newest case for dogged Police Lieutenant Eve Dallas to solve are getting colder. Though this story, Rob brings attention to lost children and the tragic consequences of what happens with them. There is a layer of poignancy to this tale, and that adds depth to this intriguing procedural. Once you go J.D. Robb, you'll never go back. Eve's husband is springing this first sledgehammer for the demolition of the New York building and reveals 2 skeletons wrapped in plastic. I already said all that. And they end up finding 12. Actually, more than that. But anyways, alright. So that's my Eve Dallas. 4.5 stars. I love these books. I own them all. And I forgot to bring down the audio. I have the audio for every one of these too. So that is that. Brad Parks, The Player. 4.5 stars. Parks weaves a tale of suspense that makes the reader laugh out loud. Humor comes honestly and is never forced for the sake of setting up a joke. The initial mystery proves to be immediate, intriguing, and as the story expands, so does the puzzle. Newspaper reporter Carter Ross receives a tip about residents of Newark neighboring developing flu-like symptoms and broken bones. When he gets interviews, he quickly gets sick. His investigation leads to a business development with possible mob ties, and shortly after interviews him, the developer is found dead on the side of the road. Was it a jealous mistress or his connection to the organized crime? Is Ross next to be silenced? See what happens. No, I did not see this one. Hold on a second. You'll be seeing this one, not this one, but it's what you call it? The next one in a couple weeks. It's coming out soon. When Kingdoms Fall or something like that, I forget. But that one's coming out, so we'll be doing that one. We've done all of these in this series 2. Just like the J.D. Robb, the Eve Dallas. I'm a serious person, so we read all of these in order. And the Viscount likes to investigate murders. It's become a hobby to him. He's a good investigator. He can talk to the ton. Bow Street likes him because he can get into houses that they can't. His friend is a little bit of a coroner, does autopsies. his friend's future wife or assistant also can do autopsies. He's friends with a Bow Street runner. Him and his father had an estranged relationship. They're slowly getting back. His father hid. Sebastian didn't know that he was an illegitimate child till recently, in the books anyway. For us, it was years ago, but to the character, it was not too long ago. And they had a whole bunch of hurdles with that. It also affected the fact that he was in love with this woman and he wanted to marry her, but she was a courtesan. And his father was like, hell no, you are no way you're going to marry this woman. And this woman also told him that because of her profession, she couldn't marry him either because the ton would exclude him and his life is the ton. And so it turns out for like one couple pages here, and I'm glad the author got rid of it quite quickly. We, the reader, knew it was gone quite quickly, but the characters didn't know. Well, he didn't know it for a little while. He thought that this courtesan was his sister, and that he'd been sleeping with his sister all along. But it turns out that they have different parentage. But he was led to believe that for a few months before the mystery was all cleared up about the parentage. So, he is not his father's biological son, but the ton doesn't know that. That's a big, huge secret. And he's got this enemy, and he married the enemy's daughter, who turns out to be a real activist. She's always pursuing stuff, and I keep going, why don't you do something your own, hero? Come on, hero, open up a school or do your own thing. Get started. Do something. But she's got to raise her kids too now. She's got a couple of kids now. So, this got 4.5 stars, Why Kings Confess. Harris's novel shows an intimate knowledge of both the political and historical Regency England. Her hero cleverly works out the solution to her complicated mysteries. At the same time, readers get a glimpse of his personal life, creating a complete and complicated main character. Why not all of the historical events or two? The author's notes at the back allow the reader to sort out what is fact and fiction. Dr. Damien Pelton is found murdered with his heart cut out next to his injured wife, and Sebastian St. Cyr is brought to solve the cases. Years of war from France and England might stop if a secret delegation from France representing Napoleon, which the dead doctor was part of, can come to a peace agreement. Could he have been murdered to stop the process? When Sebastian realizes the victim's injured wife is someone he knew in the past, who has good reason to hate him, he risks everything to protect her, his pregnant wife, and unborn child. So, it's a good series. Sebastian is good. Food peoples. This lady shows up in a lot of food cozies. She's shown up in cozy mysteries. She's shown up in food cozy mysteries. She's a good lady. 4.5 stars. Friends, family, and good food are at the center of this long-running mystery series set in Lake Eden. Every new installment is like taking a trip back home. In this new outing, Hannah solves a murder case, and a few good twist turns keep the mystery rolling until it all ends in a harrowing but humorous showdown. Cookie shop owner Hannah Swenson is frustrated with planning her mother's upcoming wedding. Dolores changes her mind every minute. The wedding plans take a back seat when Hannah accidentally hits a man with her truck on a stormy day. The man dies and she is arrested. Hannah soon learns the man was in an altercation before the car accident and was badly injured, but the victim's identification is still unsolved. Can Hannah and her cohorts piece together the man's movement before the accident to reveal the real reason for his death? We have done uh, most of these too. If you haven't seen my videos from Molly Murphy, please go check those out too. Molly came over from Ireland. Um, she came over under a false name. She had been raped and she was escaping her environment situation. She met this woman and her 2 kids, and the woman was dying, and they weren't going to let her on the ship because she was dying and she was ill. So Molly took all her papers and took the kids with her to New York to meet their father. And the story progresses from there. And then she meets Sullivan and her future husband. If you have not watched all these videos, go watch them. Molly and her 2 friends, her 2 very rich gay female friends are hysterical. They care for Molly a lot. They look after her. They stand up for her. They get her into the theater. They give her, in the beginning, they give her clothes and stuff like that. But her and her husband have done pretty well from this stuff. They're okay. They've moved up a little bit. So this is, let's see, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13th book, something like that, 13th, 14th. It starts with Murphy's Law, death of Riley. She goes into she opens her own investigation business. In Like Flynn, Oh Danny Boy, in Dublin's Fair City, Tell Me Pretty Maiden, in Gilded Cage, The Last Illusion, Bless the Bride, Hush Now, Don't You Cry, and The Family Way. And this one, and there's a couple more after it. Actually, there's several more after it. See, so this is 4 stars. City of Light, City of Darkness and Light. The latest Molly Murphy mystery is filled with intriguing characters, especially Molly herself, who is brave yet realistically portrayed. Bowen sets the stage with the background information and historical detail while she keeps the story moving forward at a pleasing pace. The setting of the turn-of-the-century Paris comes to life as the mystery builds. A young child thrown into the mix adds great tension. When a mysterious gang retaliate against her police of her husband for making an arrest, Molly Murphy Sullivan and her infant son leave New York City for safety reasons. Molly planned to visit a family in Paris, could put them in even more danger as her hosts are missing. In search for them, she discovers the famous Impressionist painter has been murdered. And her other friends show up too in Paris to help her out. Another lady that we have seen often show up in our food cozies. Peg Cochran, Iced to Death, 4 stars. Cochran's newest entry in her Gourmet Delight series is a pleasure that combines mouth-watering recipes with appealing characters and a suspense-filled plot. Gigi is trying to expand Gourmet Delight, her low-calorie food delivery business in Woodstone, Connecticut. When her younger sister Pia shows up out of the blue to crash with her, Gigi escapes by helping local cafe owner Declan cater an engagement party thrown by the richest family in town. What should be a wonderful night ends in horror when the father of the groom is found dead in a parking lot with an ice pick sticking out of his head. Putting her business goals on hold, Gigi is trying to assist her boyfriend, Detective Metz, in solving the case before the town riots. Another lady that every cozy you ever do, if a cozy mystery and a food cozy, and I just did a gardening cozy, she's in them all. Child steeped in evil. 4.5 stars. Perfectly steeped teas, tasty treats, and deadly deeds make the latest tea shop mystery a real page turner. This sophisticated mystery is well crafted, cleverly plotted, and proves to be one of the strongest elements in this series. Several twists move the story along nicely before culminating in a full-out foot race through Charleston's cobble streets. Theodosia Browning is excited to attend a wine tasting at Knight Hall Winery. The owner, Jordan Knight, reveals in his big moment as he unveils a new wine until his dead son rolls out of a barrel. Devastated by his son's murder, Jordan asks Theodosia to help, and she learns that there are problems at the winery, including an impending divorce, drug use, and distribution obstacles. Can Theodosia solve the mystery? Um. Oh, there's a big cheese left here. Jeffrey Deaver, Trouble in Mind. 4 stars. Diva is the indisputable master of plot twists, and this collection of short stories only reinforces this. There is a mix of stories here, somewhat featuring popular characters as Lincoln Rhyme, and other tales just meant to terrify. Diva mentions in the prologue that one of his stories, Paradise, has what he considers one of his all-time best twists. That's arguable. But what isn't is that it's a terrific set of stories that invokes memories of the old television series Alfred Hitchcock. 12 stories are featured in this collection of Diva short stories. Lincoln Rhyme makes a couple of appearances, while Catherine Dance takes one as John Pelham, Diva's protagonist from his early days of writing. See what happens there. I think. Alright, we did that one, we did that one, I did that one. That one, that one, that one, that one, that one. We're good. Okay. On to romantic suspense. To look for romantic suspense. And I know I have seen this, but I cannot find it. So there's one, probably the best one. Because you know what I thought when when I heard the title. And then there's a full on interview with our author. Hard as it gets. Catchy title. With a naked man on the cover. Laura Kane, As Hard as You Can. The second book in the Rising Star K's gritty Hard Ink series picks up after her events from the launch book as betrayed former Special Forces team tries to uncover the truth about their botched mission. Kay's heroine is a battered survivor who will do whatever it takes to save her younger sister, even sacrifice herself. During the mission to rescue Charlie Merritt from the church-going gang who was torturing him, former Special Forces Shane McCallahan has an encounter with Crystal Dean, a waitress who works at the club where Charlie is being held. Surprisingly, Crystal aids Shane at great risk to herself. Due to her late father owing the church gang money, Crystal has been forced to work for them. Only by being Bruno's girlfriend has Crystal helped save herself and her epileptic sister from being more dire fate. However, Bruno's increasing viciousness and erratic behavior warns Crystal that her time is running out, and Shane must come to the rescue. Close Pursuit. 4.5 stars. D blends action and intrigue in this character driven romance with deft skill, keeping readers enthralled until the final secret is unveiled and the last chase winds die down. Her fictional war zone is mutely detailed, and the dangers surrounding her characters feel dangerously real. When kindergarten teacher Katie McLeod agreed to travel with a medical team relief, she never anticipated the hardships of war or her intense, deeply secretive partner, Alex Peters, a mathematical genius and a combat expert. Alex has spent his life on the run, and when war breaks out around them, he takes Katie with him. As the danger mounts, Katie finds inner strength she never imagined and the growing connection between her and Alex she can't ignore. C. Jake's Gone Time Long. A long time gone. Sorry. You know, for those of you who are still watching at this point, I have been seriously thinking doing an Eminem and an FNF video because they come up often enough, and I'm just wondering if I should do one as an if then. Um, Jake's suspense novel is bound to thrill, titillate, and tantalize. This is the second installment of the Hell or High Water series and can be easily read as a standalone once you get past the introductions. Former Navy SEAL Prophet Drew has been missing his partner Tom ever since he split a few months ago. Prophet has always been a loner but was getting used at the company Tom provided. As Prophet is in New Orleans battling a hurricane and the ache in his heart, a murder mystery arises that involves Tom. As fate may have it, they reunite and must fight the truth together. Love Another Day, Gina Robinson. 4 stars. This is the fifth entry in Robinson's Agent X series, a string of James Bond spoof action spy thrillers. Madeline has created disguises and covers for spies for years and is finally getting her chance in the field. There's one catch. She's posing as the cute grad student girlfriend to her ex. He plays the sexy professor well, but their split was over his work-related seductions done for the sake of the job. Tate has always played the high-roller playboy for the agency, and it cost him his marriage. Seducing yet another woman doesn't sound like the plan. Does he not know who it is? Jesus. That might have been a good one for the Secret Identity podcast. Um, Atonement, BJ Daniels. Daniels latest grabs the reader from page one with her crisp storytelling. She gives us well-defined, genuine characters with a solidly crafted plot filled with mystery. The strong tension and suspense around Dylan and Tessa will keep readers turning the pages. A very pregnant Dessa Winter shows up at cowboy lawman Dylan Lawson's ranch claiming to be carrying his twin brother Ethan's baby and demands money that Ethan stole from her. Dylan is stunned, especially since Ethan has been dead for a year. Even after Tessa leaves, Dylan can't give her visit out of his mind. It leads him to wonder if Ethan is still alive. With Tessa's help, he pursues his hunch. Hmm. Did his brother get involved in something and have to fake his death? We'll have to see. That is it for suspense. Let's move on to regular romance and contemporary romance. The Chance. We have used this lady quite often. She shows up in a lot of our books series. Robin Carr. 4.5 stars. In book 4 of the Thunder Point series, Carr focuses her superior storytelling on one couple for a can't put down read. Characters from previous books are included, but readers who are new to the series won't be lost. In fact, this fully fleshed out cast of characters is a mainstay of Carr's writing. Hey, there you go. FBI agent Lane Carrington is recovering from a gunshot wound in Thunder Point, the hometown of the young woman she saved from a cult and rethinking her career. Eric Gently has spent time in prison, but he arrives in Thunder focused on getting to know the daughter he recently found out he has. The chemistry between Lane and Eric is palpable, but their life experiences make them both weary. Then Lane's estranged father shows up. His mental health has deteriorated, but sacrificing her future for her father isn't what he wants or what she deserves. 4 weddings and a fireman. Jennifer Bernard, 4.5 stars. The fifth entry in the sizzling Bachelor Fireman series is a blistering, beautifully written tale. Bernard explores beneath her characters, facades to vulnerable hearts in that beat with them, and engages readers in every steamy, heartfelt step of this surprising journey. Fun-loving firefighter Derek Vader Brown is the strongest man in San Gabriel, but he's had a soft spot for Sherry Harper since the day they met. If he could only get her to commit to more than a maddening on-again, off-again relationship. Sherry is on the run from a dark past and some bad people who are getting closer by the day, and she isn't willing to put Vader at risk. She's gonna have to let him know. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Prince Among Us. Kat Johnson. Prince Among Men. 4 stars. This ninth entry in Johnson's Red Hot and Blue series is somewhat uneven, but her trademark sass and steam are irrepressible, offering a great deal for fans and new readers to enjoy. Sergeant Ryan Pettit blogs anonymously as ground pounder during his mountainous deployment in Afghanistan, but life gets much more interesting when a female reporter arrives at the base. Vicky Vanover flirted and bribed her way onto the military base, determined to write about life for Afghan women. Though she did her research, nothing could prepare her for the real thing. Yep. And Sheila Roberts, The Cottage on Jumper Bridge. Lord. Oh. I just literally looked at it. 4 stars. Despite the multiple voices and circumstances in The Cottage on Jumper Ridge, readers can easily keep up with the varying storylines. Take on more than she can handle, Jen Heath is in a rut and searching for guidance in balancing her career and personal life. After reading a self-help book about simplifying your life, Jen packs up everything and moves to the author's hometown, Icicle Falls. Jen finally has time to dedicate to her friends and family and gains confidence in herself through a local book club. Join a book club. Hang out with me for a while. And that is the end of contemporary romance. We are now moving on to paranormal. Chrissy's favorite section. It ruled my life for a really, really long time. A really, really long time. I still love paranormal. The woman that killed my candle. Actually, my candle lived. Aiden, DB Reynolds, Aiden. 4.5 stars. What do you get when you take a dark, brooding, and dominant male vampire and add an inquisitive, attractive, and determined female reporter? A heck of a lot of fireworks and Reynolds' top-notch addition to the Vampires in America series. And if you've been searching for a steamy read, look no further. A little BDSM and super sexy bedroom activity fire up the pages in the Stella novel. Raphael and Sin are still my favorite characters. They're still my favorite of all the ones in here. And there's little vignettes individual in between some of the books too, featuring Sin and Raphael. Sidone has a vampire plan. She wants to destroy the vampires responsible for the death of her friend. She insinuates herself into the middle of a ball where she believes the vampire who will rule Chicago will be chosen. Taking over the slavery ring that had killed her friend. Aiden also has an agenda. At the top of the list is becoming Lord of Midwest Territory. Right below that, seducing Sidoni. He will stop at nothing to achieve both. When Sid reveals the existence of slavery in the territory, it brings Aiden's memories back of his childhood as a slave in the 18th century Monaco. Once they're on the same page, they work together. In and out of the bedroom. Might I add? Ah, Terry Spear, Silence of the Wolf. 4.5 stars. The outstanding and gripping plot of Spear's latest installment in the Heart of the Wolf series will appeal to paranormal fans, and romance shuckies will take delight. Half-breed Elizabeth Wildwood never had a family to call her own. Her unusual mix of part wolf and part coyote doesn't mix well with others and leads her into a dangerous situation. Tom Silver is determined to find out who or what has been harming the livestock in Grey Wolf Pack's territory, but his search is cut short when a blizzard leads him to a cabin in the Rockies to take shelter. He meets Elizabeth, who just survives a plane crash, and learns that she has been taken prisoner. Now Elizabeth must avoid her captors from whom she's been separated and who are still searching for her. Tom will need to track down his assailants in Silvertown, and they both have to join together to survive. Naked guy on the cover. Ah, Reaper's Vow. Sarah McCarty, 4.5 stars. Sarah's latest in her Shadow Reapers takes us into a post-Civil War era world of mysterious Shadow Reapers, non-human soldiers who exhibit extraordinary strength and human power. Human Cole is tough, interesting, and appealing as a hero with a special gift of reading people. Rancher Cole Cameron is determined to rescue his cousin, Adelaide, from Isaiah Jones, a Shadow Reaper. When he's saved by Isaiah from death by wolves, Cole follows Isaiah back to Reaper camp, still determined to find Adelaide. Once there, Cole learns more about the Reapers and meets Miranda, a female Reaper, who seems destined to be his mate. Aww. Werewolf in Vegas. Vicki Lewis Thompson, 4 stars. This wild at heart adventure takes us to Las Vegas for some gambling and a bit of trouble with new, vibrant, cheeky, charming characters. Just a sec. Luke, Dalton, and Giselle Landry have a common problem. Their respectable siblings have run off together. But when casino owner Luke meets with Gazelle, who is in Las Vegas searching for her brother, he doesn't realize their connection. While Gazelle can't ignore how gorgeous and appealing Luke is, the Landrys have always been against Ware's mating with humans. And Gazelle doesn't want to allow herself to give in to him. But the sexual tension proves to be too much. She's got to go for it. Uh, and two ladies, excuse me one more time. Runny nose. Um, two ladies that we have, I have done all of the books to this series, so please check them out. We did them in order. We did a binge read. Mercy is a coyote shapeshifter. Adam is a werewolf. He's king of his clan. He has a daughter. He has an ex-wife. Um, the story has evolved over several books, over several years. The book span years. Please go check out all my videos for these. Mercy sometimes gets herself in trouble dealing with the Fae, there's witches in here, there's vampires in here, there's werewolves in here, there's shapeshifters in here, there's a whole bunch of paranormal, mystical creatures in here. So this is just after they got married. Patricia Briggs, 4.5 stars, night broken. Adjusting to marriage, a new stepdaughter, and an inclusion in the pack is a lot for anyone to cope with. But add in the manipulative ex-wife of your husband and you have a potential for disaster. Mercy continues to be a charming, gusty, and fascinating character, even as she struggles with feelings like she's on the outside. The problem is, Adam and Christy really didn't love each other that much, but they stayed together for the kid. But Christy was Susie Homemaker. She made every single thing from scratch, even the pasta. Okay? She can make some cookies. She is just not the Susie Homemaker Christy is, but she is Adam's mate because she is a shapeshifter, because she is a coyote. So they were able to mate bond, unlike Christy and Adam were not able to mate bond because Christy was fully human. A frantic phone call from Adam's ex-wife, Christy throws a new challenge at Mercy while she attempts to be assimilated into the pack. The pack didn't like Mercy for breaking up Adam's marriage, but the truth be told, like I said, Christy could not be Adam's mate in whole because she was not a shapeshifter. Christy met a man who turned into a dangerous stalker and who may have killed her friend. Although she's not a werewolf, there are many in the pack who view Christy more favorably than Mercy. So Christy's return is a particular source of discord. So Mercy's got to get past that. They got to save Christy from her stalker, who turns out to be more dangerous than expected. Lots of trials and tribulations. I love the kid. The kid is great. And her, I'm not sure if this is the one with the, Avon or not. But that Avon scene is hysterical. You'll have to go check out my videos. I don't remember which book it was. But the Avon one was hysterical. Another lady who we have talked about and reviewed on my show, Rachel and the Hollows. Rachel she's got some demon powers. She's got some witch powers. She hangs out with Ivy, who's a vampire. And these vampires are different than your normal vampires. They can do stuff that regular vampires can't do. And then she's got Jenks, her fairy, who helps her out considerably. Jenks has been human-sized once or twice in the series, but he remains relatively small. She's got a gargoyle. She's got Trent. We may see a return of Kristen in the next book. It's been hinted. So we'll see what happens there. But there's a lot going on in this series, and you have to read the books in order to follow it. She used to work for the government, but then the government threw her out. 4.5 stars, The Undead Pool. With her exceptional Hollow series nearing the end. All right, let me explain here. Kim Harrison and Charlene Harris both decided to cut their losses of book 13. And Sookie Stackhouse is still deceased. I have talked to Charlene, and Charlene has made it perfectly clear that Sookie, that's it. She's done with Sookie. She will not be going back to Sookie. Kim, on the other hand, came back to Rachel. And we've had 4 or 5 books since she's come back. So please go check out my reviews for those. With her exceptional series nearing the end, Harris delivers some amazing major payoffs and then throws new wrenches into the life of Rachel Morgan. For those who have followed this series from the beginning, the arc of Rachel's life and of her relationships has been a riveting, trouble-laden. But that ride has been well worth it, as some of those plots are definitely beginning to coalesce. Rachel has hoped that after saving the Ever After, her life could calm down a little. But fat chance of that happening. When magic spells start to backfire or go awry, Rachel is horrified to realize that magic could be leaking from her ley line. In additional frightening twist, all the head vampires of Cincinnati seem to be dead asleep and freed from the control of their masters. Vampire insurrection is on the rise. With all this going on, the truce between the Interlanders and humans is collapsing. It's up to Rachel to fix it. And there will be other books there. We hope she will continue to be writing for a very long time. And a monster and a gentleman. Let me go look at this. A monster and a gentleman. Last book. Lila DuBose. In the 5th entry in the Monsters in Hollywood series, heroine Callie Blunt Callie is blunt and direct to the point of rudeness, so it becomes as no surprise that relationships are tricky for her. Callie has placed the fate of a company Calypso Productions squarely on her own shoulders with her latest venture, a movie featuring monsters using real monsters as actors, meant to serve as their coming out party. The movie must be a success, and she can't allow her attraction to stealing one of the actors to get in the way. Alright, let's see now. Let's go on to Harley Quinn. Let's just do a couple of these. They never do. They never do the one they feature. They always do the other ones. Oof. All right, let's do the 4 stars. The one on the end here. Night Games. That got 4 stars. They never do the big one. I've never. And whatever book they put up here, they never do in the reviews. I don't know why. Oh, see, look, it was a February book. That's why. And this is a March. You know, I think I forgot to say that at the beginning. This was March 2014. I'm pushing 1,000 today, aren't I? So, we have Harlequin American Romance, Harlequin Blaze, Harlequin Desire, Harlequin Intrigue, Harlequin Kiss, Harlequin Nocturne for your vampires, Harlequin Presents for your chics, Harlequin Romance, Harlequin Suspense, Harlequin Special Edition, Harlequin Super Romance, And Harlequin Kimmy, Night Games, 4.5 stars, Lisa Marie Perry. Charlotte Blue has struggled to prove herself to her family for years. After the new athletic trainer for the family's NFL team, the Las Vegas Slayers, Charlotte knows that all eyes are on her. The last thing she needs is to start an affair with fellow trainer Nate, whose father was the team's previous owner. Both Nate and Charlotte must decide whether to follow their hearts or to continue to please their families at all costs. Follow your hearts, follow your hearts. And I think I don't remember seeing. Oh, is she featured in here? I don't think she's featured in here. Are you? Oh, 3 stars. All right. This is a 3-star book. We'll just do it. She's got a full page ad. But it's only 3 stars. It's under Harlequin Desire. The Real Thing, 3 stars, Brenda Jackson. Trinity Matthews is having trouble at work with a supervisor who just won't take no for an answer. Enter Adrian Westmoreland, who has agreed to act as her pretend boyfriend. He never thought he would want to protect her for real. Will Aiden and Trinity's growing attraction backfire on them, or will they take the time to make their fake relationship real? Maybe that's why I got 3 stars. I don't think there's any more pictures in here. You want an E? Seduced by Fire. Uh, 4.5 stars. This series starter is full of BDSM that titillates and captivates from the beginning. Both Daniel and Julie suffer from emotional upheaval when they are separated, as it appears there is no chance of reconciliation. And the reader wonders if Julie can overcome her misgivings and her surrender to her deepest feelings. Daniel has broken her heart. Can it be repaired? Daniel Weston, vice president of prestigious bank, first meets Julie in her flower shop. There's a hint of attraction that escalates as he suspects her submissive nature. He acts on that knowledge with great care. He's a dom through and through and wants her for his own. When Julie's friend Sasha takes her to an introductory BDSM meeting, she's surprised to see Daniel there. Despite her initial reluctance, she slowly introduces Julie to submission. Although at first she eases into her role, but neither realizes how they are falling for each other. Then Daniel scares her. Okay. Well, that was not good. Opal Carew. His to Caress. 4.5 stars. Originally released as a 6-part E-series, in his to Possess, Carew presents a completely satisfying love story. Brothers in love with the same woman is not a new premise, but these men are just what heroine needs. Jessica is moving to Philadelphia to start over with a breakup with Storm when she meets Dane, which is stunned by his resemblance to her former lover. He offers her a job and a new start, but he also introduces her to the D lifestyle, which he brings her happiness and healing. Dane is equally happy with the direction of the relationship takes, but he is also trying to heal his rift with his brother Rafe. When Rafe and Storm turn out to be one and the same, Jessica is forced to face it. Alright, what the hell? Do one more. Given. Kelly Maine. Fans of steam and well-developed characters with raw emotion will fall in love with Give and Take. Now that Turtle Tear Resort has reached its completion, CEO Welcher Enterprises Merrick must search for the perfect opportunity to convince Rachel that she is happily ever after. But a few loose ends need to be tied up first. Rachel is slowly but surely putting the past behind her in order to move forward. There is no doubt that there is real love between her and Merrick, but there is something missing. Can they resolve their issues? And that is the end of Flashback Monday. Don't you miss the conventions? They used to have conventions. I haven't heard of a book convention lately. They have Comic Cons and stuff like that. But that is it. I can't wait till next month. April 2014. Please go check out If Then Fridays, Star Trek Next Generation Fridays. We're almost finished with that. And we will be starting Voyager soon. And then when we start Voyager, If Thens will move to Monday when this runs out. We're going to run out in 2016. Have a good one.